Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to another segment of the MCR Mac and Me. My name's TJ, and in this segment, uh, the event that occurred, I'll tell you about a week ago now, uh, a Hurricane Helene, I think is how they were pronouncing it,
Right.
uh, going from, come up through Florida, then it went through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, into Tennessee, and even I got to tell you, one day last week, the remnants of it hit us up here in Detroit. Quite a bit of wind and a little bit of rain, but
Right. It was
more. I would,
cloudy, very overcast here for about 5 days.
yeah, yeah. I did notice that too. But when this all started out, and then I had heard that it was going up through Georgia, and that it was, and I says, oh, and I'm thinking if it doesn't ride that coast, it's going to go up through North Carolina, Tennessee, and wherever else, Virginia, wherever else. And if you're familiar with the geography of the state line between Tennessee and North Carolina, Mac, do you know what resides in that area geographically?
I do not.
Smoky Mountain Range.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That I did know. I didn't know that's what
okay,
you
and
meant though.
and in the Smoky Mountain Range, you do have some of the highest cliffs of the Appalachian Mountain Range. Why do I mention that? Because these sizable mountains are nothing but funnels for the deluge of precipitation that went through that area. So much
Right.
so that every river, creek, stream flash flooded. And if you lived on the top of the mountain, you'd probably be okay. But if you lived in the valley, you were screwed. And there are towns and uh, primarily towns, small towns that are completely wiped out. So much so that they may never exist again because it looks like a bomb went off there. You got mudslides burying cars and perhaps people that were in those cars. Uh, I was saddened when I heard one news report of a grandparents and one of their grandchildren stuck on the roof, and the last they saw of them was the house collapsing from the water tearing the house up. It is presumed they are gone. I heard the casualty rate is well over 200 at this point. They can't even give an accurate death rate because not everyone's been found, and those who are missing could very well have uh, they could very well be dead. Okay.
Well, it's highly likely they are, and many of them are buried in this massive amounts of mud.
Yes. Yes. Uh,
They may never be found.
I have a couple interesting, unique connections to this whole thing. And I spoke to my father about some of this yesterday. I have two nieces that attend a small university in Greenville, South Carolina, and I guess their classes were postponed for a week or something uh, because, well, they didn't have electricity, and for safety purposes, they gathered up the students into the gymnasium in an effort to keep everyone accounted for and everything. And last I heard, things are slowly returning to normal for them there, and that's South Carolina. Now, Tennessee, as some of our old time listeners and viewers know, uh, my wife has family down in Tennessee. One of her cousins is the pastor of a small church who literally took his congregation and relocated them 60 miles to the west. That because that would get them out of the danger zone. And he literally took his small congregation and relocated them 60 miles west to keep his church congregation safe. So, uh, yeah, when I heard about this path, I just knew. I just before it even happened, I knew it was going to be bad, and I knew it was going to be bad from the rain, not so much the wind, but the rain. Any thoughts so far, Mac?
Yeah, well, the thing that concerns me most about this story is the actual lack of help that coming from the federal government. Their lack of preparedness. These storms they're not like a tornado that pop up in 30 seconds. They know about these for days and days and days, and they weren't ready. The FEMA guys yucking it up about how they don't have any money. And when people want to know where the money goes, well, they're using it on people from other countries to make them feel comfortable and happy. And to hell with Americans, apparently. I hope these people, if they're able to vote in November, or the rest of us who are watching this and know that at some point it could be your turn, are paying close attention to the ineptitude and incompetence and just a lack of giving a shit about the American people that this administration has displayed.
Well, you mentioned I am most concerned with North Carolina, aside from the fact that it was hit harder than even Tennessee. But North Carolina, might this administration not really worry too much in hopes that lack of voter participation could benefit them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because there's a good chance she was going to lose North Carolina. So
yeah, and I was and when all this started happening, and I was talking to a subscriber, and I said, "Man, this is East Palestine, Ohio, except at a cataclysmic level."
Well, I did talk to someone who suggested, well, maybe if you're in a red state, they aren't going to help you. This is your punishment for your disobedience to them.
In talking about this event, I made that comment, and then I listened to Megyn Kelly that night, who's interviewing Victor Davis Hanson, and what does he do? Kind of says the same thing I had said a few hours prior. Now, have an affirmation as to your take on the events is always, I guess, nice, albeit at the unfortunate expense. But this is almost turning into a playbook, a political playbook of sorts, and it's just. I watch the Sean Ryan podcasts sometimes, and I heard him say it to Eric Prince, and I've heard him say it to others, how the federal government is just broken. They're just broken, and this is the worst possible example of a broken government. 3 months ago, Mayorkas is being interviewed about how prepared FEMA is, and don't worry, FEMA's fully funded. And then you find out 3 months later, FEMA's fully bankrupt because of the CBP app, which they wanted to poo-poo and deny last week during the vice president's debate. It fires me up. I mean, it just gets me going. I'm working myself up into a frenzy here.
If this doesn't work you up into a frenzy, there's something wrong with you. People are dying and they don't give a shit. They don't care about human life. That's been on full display. If you don't see that, then you're not looking, and you got your head up your derriere most likely, or you're hiding. And you know what? As much as I feel bad for people that are in this position, I have to wonder how many of those people have you said this phrase? Oh, I don't care about politics. It doesn't affect me. Really? It doesn't affect you? Well, it's affecting you now.
And one final thought, and then we can wrap this up. You have private citizens attempting to help and volunteer, Elon Musk being one of them, and FEMA's getting in the way. I saw a video of a helicopter owner, operator, pilot. He was going to, on his own dime, go in there and rescue people from roofs, and the federal government threatened him with arrest. Now, from what I heard, he went ahead and did it anyways and dared them to arrest him.
I would do the same.
But I know Elon Musk was very upset because Elon Musk is making an honest effort to help them, and it goes back to Sean Ryan saying this government can't do anything right. This government is broke. They're just broke. Ineptness. The level of ineptness you would only find in government at anything.
Well,
and unfortunately, this is the thing right now.
You got DEI putting these people in place. They can't do the job.
So I've ranted. I've said my piece. The disgust. I've barely scratched the surface on my disgust for this. Anyways, we'll call this one a wrap. Anything else there, Mac?
No, that's about it.
All right. Okay. Now that I've calmed down. All right. See you in the next segment. Thanks, everyone. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.